Okay, welcome back. And one of the things that we've been tracking here in our own backyard is how certain Christian organizations have been targeted in various ways, especially when it comes to grant funding and meeting those requirements, and then just out of the blue have them denied. I am really honored to have a couple of special guests with us today. Jeremiah Galus, he is a senior counsel for the Alliance Defending Freedom, where he's a key member there of the Center for Christian Ministries, and our own local Bud Amundson. He's the executive director of 71Five Ministries here in Southern Oregon. We've had Bud on before talking about this. Gentlemen, thanks for your time. Good to see you, Bud. How you doing, Bud?
Doing well. Thanks, Perry.
Jeremiah, where are you, Jeremiah? Where are we Skyping you in?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, good to see you both. Thank you. Well, Bud, first of all, give us an update on the case for those who aren't familiar with it.
So we were working with the Department of Education, fulfilling their grants in the development of young people in our community. And we were going for our fourth round of grants, and we were awarded those grants up to $420,000 over 2 years of grant time, and then we heard a couple months later that they had pulled the grant funding due to our requirement that our staff and volunteers sign our statement of faith.
Okay.
Which took us by surprise and definitely was seemed like a really strange thing to do for a faith-based organization not to align our people with our mission.
All right, over to you, Jeremiah. This is obviously an interesting case, and you're probably seeing some of these across the board, but where it has been granted in the past and then it's denied in the future based upon something as simple as this, why is ADF involved, and how do you think it's going?
Well, ADF is involved because it's wrong for our government officials to penalize a religious organization like 71Five simply for exercising its constitutional right. Every religious organization has a right to hire those that share its faith. The First Amendment protects that right. And the Supreme Court has held over and over again that the government cannot exclude religious organizations from government benefit programs solely because of their religious character or their religious exercise. Yet that's exactly what the state of Oregon has done here, and it's wrong, and so we're involved. And we're, so far, the case has really just begun, but we're hopeful, we're optimistic that the court will see that what the state of Oregon has done to 71Five is unconstitutional and should not stand.
And Bud, just to make sure people understand, you've received this grant in the past, and in the past this was not a case, right?
Yes, absolutely. This was our fourth round of that funding, and excuse me, we were really one of their model programs, doing great work and using the funding for non-religious programming and fulfilling our requirements within the grant and changing lives with that funding. And so, yeah, all of a sudden the new thing came, the new rule came, and they wouldn't allow us to have our volunteers and staff sign our statement of faith, which is, core to our mission, our ministry.
So, Jeremiah, is this a case of discrimination?
It's absolutely a case of discrimination, because what the state of Oregon has done is to tell religious organizations that if you want to continue to participate in a government program on equal terms, just like everyone else in the community, you have to give up what makes you religious. One of the things that makes 71Five, one of the biggest things that makes 71Five religious is the fact that it has employees and volunteers who share its belief and share its religious mission. And the state of Oregon is saying you have to give that up to be treated like everyone else in the community. And unfortunately, that is, I don't know how else to describe it, but that's a case of religious discrimination.
So do we know if this change in policy was done by a committee, an agency, or an individual?
Well, I can answer that. So it was the Oregon Department of Education, the Youth Development Division. There's no statute, no regulation that requires this. They, on their own, decided it would be a good idea to require faith-based organizations like 71Five to agree as a condition to participation that they won't, quote unquote, discriminate in their employment practices based on religion. That is, if you're religious, you can't require religious people to work there. Again, not grounded in any statute, any regulation. This was something the Youth Development Division of the Department of Education came up with on its own.
And where is the case? Where are you appealing this to?
So we're in the Federal District Court of Oregon. We filed a lawsuit there. We recently filed a motion for preliminary injunction, which was to ask the court, because this is so obviously unconstitutional, to allow 71Five back into the grant program, to reinstate the grant funding that was properly awarded to 71Five, allow it to continue the good service to the youth of the community while this lawsuit proceeds. There's no reason to wait for the 2-3 year litigation process to right the wrong, and allow 71Five to continue the good work that it's been doing for 6+ years now.
And Bud, back to you, because I kind of know the answer to this, but I want you to explain it to our audience. You not only have met those requirements in the past, but you have used those funds to do exactly what they were granted to do. If I can use the term ROI, return on investment, has exceeded those expectations and requirements. And somehow you can turn $1 into $10 because it's ministries. Or am I overstating this?
I would agree with you. Yeah, we've been one of their model programs, as I said before. And it has, that funding has allowed us to engage in vocational training and in youth center, community center programming. And we were given actually extra funds because we had done so well in the past. And fulfilling the grant, we don't discriminate in any way in regards to service. It's any young person can come and participate. And as you know, our mission statement is 71Five exists to share God's story of hope with young people through trusting relationships in any relevant way. And so that's the core of what we do, and the folks that are involved and are going to be a part of those trusting relationships have to be able to, one, believe in, understand, and articulate the gospel. And that's what our statement of faith is about, is what is our faith tenets really about. So that's the challenge that we're facing now, is they've said, no, you can't. Doesn't matter how good you've been in the past, because you align people with your mission, you're done. You have no opportunity.
Well, first of all, let me say to you, Bud, thank you. This is not an easy road. I know the decision that you and your board make to go to the action that you're doing now keeps you up late at night. I get this. I totally get it. I want to say thank you, and to you and your board, that you know that you're in our prayers. And part of what I want our audience to understand here today, that this thing is in process. We need to pray this through to victory. Pray for Bud and his team and his staff. They stay true, and they are, to their core belief and to their core statement. And Jeremiah, I can't help but think that this has got immense residual effect if we don't win this. And I say that because over on our side of the fence in Christian broadcasting, we're looking at DEI coming at us at federal levels, which could be really problematic for us in what we do in ministry. But I really hope that people understand that this case could be monumental on other organizations like 71Five.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is critically important for 71Five, of course. But this affects religious organizations all across the state. And really, if the state of Oregon can do what it did to 71Five without any consequences, it can happen to anyone. This isn't just a case about grant funding. This is about whether the government can require religious organizations and people of faith to give up what makes them who they are, their faith, as a condition to participating in a program that really was intended to be for everyone. So it relegates people of faith and religious organizations to kind of a second-class citizenship within the state. And if we're not successful, this can happen, and it is happening all across the country.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting here is that they've called on Youth 71Five in the past to administer these funds to do exactly what their goal and their policy wanted to accomplish. And they did it with great success, but now all of a sudden they're disqualified. I mean, the hypocrisy of this really is quite alarming.
Yeah, it really is. I'm sorry, Bud. It really is. I mean, Bud said it. They welcome everybody. 71Five welcomes every member of the community. No one is questioning, not even the state, that 71Five does a tremendous job serving those. This really just comes down to, can the government pressure a religious organization to give up why they exist in the first place, which is to be a faith-based organization, to participate in the program? It's really striking and alarming.
Yeah, Bud, go ahead. Sorry, Bud.
It's okay. Yeah, it is shocking that we have, done so well for the program and yet have this jerked away. And, I just want to say that the injustice is real, and our staff, the organization as a whole, is feeling, pretty intense impact here as we're trying to start another fiscal year and not cut programmings or staff. This is an intense moment, and the reality is, one, I had no understanding that this would be my life and kind of taking this on. But two, it shouldn't be this way. We have the right to align our staff and volunteers with our mission, with our program, with our faith orientation. And that right has simply been taken away.
How can we pray for you, buddy?
We're down close to $200,000 as we're finishing up this fiscal year. We're doing all we can. We're stepping out in faith to keep the programs going, keeping all the staff on board. Be praying for the fundraising attempts that we're working on. Also, as you pray, I just ask, pray that our testimony goes forth. Don't pray in condemnation, pray in love, and pray that these folks will see who the Lord is in this process. Also, be encouraged. This is the paradox in essence. We're deeply impacted. It's a challenging time, but we also know that the Lord is with us, kind of in a miraculous way. He gave me Deuteronomy 31:8, which, obviously is a great passage that says, the Lord himself goes before you. He is with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. And so, we go forward in hope. We know the Lord's in it, but at the same time, the challenge is real. The daily struggle is real. The financial impact is real.
All right, 71five.org is the website, 71five.org. Again, this is a fish and loaves deal. It's $1 in and somehow $10 come out. God uses every little bit that goes into this organization. Let me encourage you to support them, help them through this time. Again, 71five.org. Also pray for Jeremiah and his team, and you can go to adflegal.org, and that's the Alliance Defending Freedom.org, and their website, and support what they do. They're frontline warriors. They get involved in this and help out. And Jeremiah, I just want to say to you and your team, thank you. Thank you for taking this on. Thank you for your work and your long hours. This is monumental. This case has to be won, and please know that you're being supported in prayer, friend.
Thank you. We're honored to stand by organizations like 71Five.
All right. Bud, hang in there, buddy.
Doing the best I can, and by God's grace, I will.
You will. All right. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Barry.